gentlemen, welcome to week 3 here in Flux Motorsport's second season of 2020. You're tuning in on Tuesday the 10th of November and it's week 3 at Daytona Road Course, the third and final race at Daytona Road Course this season, and it's yet another wet one. In fact, it's pretty stormy over in Daytona, Florida at the moment, as you've seen in our previous broadcasts. But that hasn't changed at all. The rain is really coming down in this part of the world, and it's going to prove troublesome for our touring car drivers today. So Luke Snipes also unable to improve. Looks as though he's going to remain static in 13th place. But here we go, end of the qualification session. Let's have a look at how our starting grid is going to start out. The console takes pole position and the vital bonus point, with Giacomo lining up alongside him on the front row for the first time this season. Great qualification from TTB Giacomo there. Stoltz in third place with Jack Demenzies for company alongside him on the second row. Olu82 third row with J46 Dyson alongside, and then Kovkarl in 7th place with Green Gaming in 8th. T Scott in 9th and Lecky 2000 in 10th. Lecky 2000 with a 1 place grid penalty there, and he'll be looking to try and make big inroads on this race. Casey Redwood in 11th place and Survivor in 12th, and then Luke Snipes and Tibby in 13th and 14th, with Old Smoky with a 1 place grid penalty making up the very back of the grid. So just 30 seconds remaining or so, and then we're going to be underway here at Daytona Road Course for the final time this season in Flux Motorsport Season 2. All championships have already came and saw and conquered this circuit. I think all races have been in the wet, and we're just about to get underway with the rolling start here at Daytona. Drivers will bunch up, and then it'll be lights out and away we go. Race 3 in the Touring Car Championship. Here are the lights. It looks as though we've already got action happening at the back of the field. Not too sure what's happened there, but we're underway into turn 1. Looks as though Jack Demenzies has been able to take the place off Giacomo. Giacomo now falling down into 3rd place, but all drivers look to be away pretty cleanly through turn 1. We'll just focus in on the back of the grid, and it does look as though all of them are away quite cleanly. Let's have a look. Is it Luke? Luke Snipes looks as though he got taken off before the race had even begun, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there with the rest of the stewards' inquiries. But the console has made up a huge lead already, and looks as though Giacomo potentially getting a slowdown penalty. We just saw him drop in places in that number 87 Monster Energy, and he's losing even more places, falling down into 5th position now. So that's Olu82, J46 Dyson and Jack Demenzies ahead of him. Looks as though Jack Demenzies run very, very wide there, and also with Olu82, I believe, running pretty wide. Great camera angle there, and we can see the differences in line. So that is Olu82 on the right hand side of your screen, up on the high bank of the turn, with TTB Giacomo in 4th place, making that move happen. Let's just go on board with Giacomo, and we can see ahead of him, that is Jack Demenzies and J46 Dyson ahead. We can just see the taillights under braking of the console as well as he comes up into the bus stop. Oh, as we see massive contact there. Who was that? I think that might have been, was it Kovkarl perhaps? I think it was Kovkarl, just catching someone into the braking area of the bus stop. Not too sure who paid the price, but somebody got absolutely battered, and it looks as though we've got our first retirement of the evening. It's come very, very early on. Looks as though we're missing Lecky 2000, and who else is gone as well, because I think we're missing 2 drivers from this. So it looks as though we've got a bit of action going on behind as well. Looks as though Kovkarl's currently dropping places. That is T Scott moving ahead of him with Old Smoky in the Emochi liveried car. So Emochi and T Scott now battling it out. Let's have a look at how this one develops. T Scott looks as though he's got the inside line, and looks as though Old Smoky slipping into the slipstream. as we come up to the braking of turn 1. It does look as though Old Smokey's got very, very loose there. Both drivers look as though they've messed up the braking into that, and it's just a case of who messed up least. It does look as though T. Scott is going to have to fall back in line, maybe behind Kovkarl. He's going to do it under braking, but he can't. I think T. Scott really just struggling to break this car down into the corners at the moment, really struggling under these treacherous conditions. Just about to come up to lap 5, and we're 3 abreast here coming into the start-finish line. It falls back into 2 rows of 2, and it's J46 Dyson now leading the charge with Giacomo in 3rd. Stoltz now in 4th place, and he looks as though he just comes together with Jack de Menzies. Jack de Menzies moves up to the inside, and it looks as though J46 Dyson ran a little bit wide there. So let's jump back into the cockpit of Stoltz at the moment, so we can see Jack de Menzies in the green livery car on the right hand side, just making a place up to J46 Dyson. Looks as though they're interweaving between each other at the moment, so that's Giacomo ahead of J46. Jack de Menzies in 4th place, and then Stoltz, who we're currently on board with, in 5th position. We see the cars bunching up into the bus stop, and it does look as though that's J46 Dyson just having a little look around the outside. He's not going to make that move happen, I don't think. Not this time around, but let's see if he can stick into the slipstream and be able to overtake TTV Giacomo. We just see him there moving up into the high line, which is going to give him a little bit of a speed advantage. He is going the long way around the circuit, but a little bit more grip there as they come very, very close together. And we've also got Jack de Menzies as well, reaping the benefits of the slipstream. So J46 Dyson has a little bit of overspeed here. He is going to have to go the long way around, and he's not on the ideal line into the braking of turn 1. So we'll wait and see what happens as they begin to brake. Looks as though J46 Dyson losing out. That is Jack de Menzies moving up into 3rd place. J46 Dyson then has to fall back into 4th, and that is just the difference in ideal line, I think it was. Just getting his braking ever so slightly wrong. So Jack de Menzies also works his way up into 2nd place. These drivers really showing the talent of the touring car pool here in Flux Motorsport. So J46 Dyson is just being challenged here by Giacomo. In fact, that's Giacomo challenging and holding it off. Are we going to see a change of position? I think we might well do. And Stoltz is right into the slipstream of this. So Giacomo moves up into 2nd place. Stoltz is now challenging for 3rd. Huge race this between these 4 drivers. I mean, the console is just running his own race, and kudos to him. He's developed now a 10-second lead, but these 4 cars have just been a battle of wits, it seems. This is almost what we come to expect from a classic oval or tri-oval race. Not necessarily from the road course, but really fair competitive driving, as we see just a little bit of paint exchanging from the both pairings of cars there. Does look as though Giacomo is now going to come under pressure from Stoltz. Stoltz has done really well just holding on to this one. He's kept his cool all the way through it. And looks as though Giacomo making a mistake, losing traction at the front end, understeering massively, and that's going to cost him. He now slips down into 5th position. Very costly mistake there coming up into turn 4 here at Daytona. Drivers, let's get back into the action though. J46 Dyson is in 2nd place. Does look as though Stoltz is on the charge here as they come out around the first set of banking. Also looks as though Giacomo is about to challenge his nearest rival in Jack de Menzies at the moment. He's currently going up the inside into the bus stop, and it's a great line from Giacomo. Does look as though he just cuts the limits a little bit, and Jack de Menzies had to run over the grass, just losing traction, it seems, on the braking zone into the bus stop there. The console leads with 20 minutes remaining inside this one. J46 Dyson in 2nd place, and it does look as though Stoltz is just about to go around the outside across the start-finish line, and we're going to see a bit of an undercut. Will he drop down into the low line here for the braking into turn 1? Doesn't look as though he is. He just falls back into line. And he looks as though he's got the better of Dyson there, under braking. These two very good friends wanted to be competitors. Ooh, he gets very close to the wall there. That looks as though it might be a slowdown penalty issued for Stoltz. And he allows that position back. Looks as though he just clipped the edge off that apex through the grass and gives the place back. So no harm, no foul, unless the race director wants him to slow down even further. Into the cockpit cam, so we're now on board with all your 82. That is Giacomo ahead, and then Jack de Menzies ahead of them, and you can see the 6-second lead now that Stoltz has ahead of this little pack of cars, and that's going to be pretty considerable. You can just see him now coming around the start-finish line as all three drivers look to make their adjustments. And it looks as though Giacomo is taking the position. All you 82 just has to adjust ever so slightly there to allow for the inside line of Jack de Menzies. So TTV Giacomo moves up into 4th place. Jack de Menzies falls down a position into 5th. And now all you 82 continues to wait patiently, and he'll be looking for his opportunity to try and pick them off. Meanwhile, just ahead of them, J46 Dyson continues his reign in 2nd place. It looks as though Stoltz has actually got a terrible drive there coming out of turn 4, and loses a bit of momentum. Now falls 7/10 behind his good friend and rival J46 Dyson. Does look as though Giacomo is still continuing to pile on the pressure, and I've got to say the effort of TTV Giacomo and the ability of him has improved race after race after race. And we've said this, I think me and the console were saying it in last week's GT3. Oh, huge mistake there from Al Axon. He's going to lose out on at least one position. It does look as though Jack de Menzies is going to come through. We just saw him. It looked as though he locked up the front end. That brought the rear around and got in all sorts of trouble. Is Jack de Menzies going to be able to capitalise on it? Does look as though he's got a little bit more momentum as he comes around up into his approach into the bus stop. So yeah, it looks as though the front just caught a little bit of loss of traction, lost the rear, and that's just allowed Giacomo through into 4th position. Alexis's going to have to really try and keep hold of this one into the remaining 5 minutes, because we've seen the ability of Jack de Menzies throughout this one, and he's currently on for his fastest lap, so the track is getting quicker. Meanwhile, looks as though Stoltz has just taken 2nd place away from J46 Dyson. Perseverance has paid off there from the two friends and co-patriots. So Stoltz moves up into 2nd place. He does run a little bit wide into turn 1. And that's going to allow J46 Dyson to challenge it and take that place back. So J46 Dyson moves back into 2nd place. I think turn 1 has been the nemesis of Stoltz. Looks as though he can really hook a lap together, except for turn 1. It just seems to screw him almost every single time. So this battle far from over in the remaining 3 minutes of this race. The console leading it on lap 21. He's got 13.7 seconds almost to his nearest rival, which is Stoltz 44 in 2nd place with J46 Dyson in 3rd. Then it's Giacomo at the moment, who we're currently tracking around in the number 86 Monster Energy car. Does look as though he's got his braking a little bit messed up there, and that's going to allow all U82 through into 4th position. Jump back into the cockpit of Giacomo. Let's have a look into the braking here of turn 6 onto the run out to the oval. Into 7 now, and is he going to maintain that low line that we've seen him try and make work? You can see there just a little bit of spray coming up through some of the wet parts of this track, but does it look as though we've got the dovetails coming up from the back of the cars? So definitely got dry sections forming, and that's going to boost the tyre temperatures and make it a little bit tricky for these drivers to hold their grip for the remaining 2 minutes. So here we are at the end of race 3 here at Daytona in our Flux Motorsport Touring Car Championship. The console gets the fastest lap just about. So bonus point for him to go along with his qualification bonus point for pole position, and he picks up the 35 points. So the clean sweep for the console this week. Stoltz in second and J46 Dyson in third place. OU82 in fourth with Giacomo in fifth. Jack de Menzies in sixth place despite his 5-second penalty in the end. T. Scott comes seventh with Kovkarl in eighth. Luke Snipes in ninth with Casey Redwood doing enough in 10th place. And that is following on from Old Smokey's penalty, I do believe. Old Smokey in 11th place, ahead of Survivor 1880 in 12th. Green Gaming in last, and the rest of the drivers that started the race will come up with DNFs. So no points for them, unfortunately.